Okay, good morning. Welcome to Pilates Zoom Live with Sandra Lee and visitors on the other side of our Zoom. So today I'm just going to share a little bit of education with you around neck strengthening and mobilizing, and then we'll get on the mat. Okay, so just having an understanding that it's a natural part of aging is this forward posture. Trust me, my posture is far from perfect. I've got neck issues and it causes a pulling forward. Now I've actually got a really strong back, but when we build strength in terms of Pilates, it's not just the neck, okay? We need to build the whole spine. So this whole concept that, I need to build neck strength is correct. However, we need to build strength from the core first, because otherwise we can't maintain the weight of the upper body. So going back to the concept of this natural aging posture, okay, so it just naturally draws forward. When we lose strength, is actually a posture that starts before that, and that's called a fatigue posture. So if we just look at a natural standing posture, and that's what it's called, it's got a category of fatigue posture, and it just becomes this. You see how tight the body is, and the hips just sort of slouch forward, the abdominal shorten, and you can see what happens to the neck carriage. It is forward. So yeah, yes, if you've got this sort of posture, yes, you absolutely do need to build shoulder neck strength. But as you can see from the posture, the fatigue posture, it has to come from here first in order to draw us up, lift and lengthen us, and then these muscles here, your spinal extensors, kick in. So think if they go from your mid back, in fact, they start all the way down at the bottom here, and they run all the way back, all the way up, all the way to the top of the bottom of the skull. So just want to give you that little picture of an aging posture and why the core is so important to fixing neck issues. So today, I'll just take you through a little bit of mobilization. And a couple of weeks ago, we did shoulder and arm routine, because this is all related to the neck. So that's what we're going to do today. So if you can just make yourself either sitting, you can stand if you want. I'm on my Fitball. I'm going to stay on my Fitball. I love my little Fitball. We'll start with arms and shoulders. And like I said, for that reason, and I suppose an outcome I would like for you today is to have an awareness of your neck positioning. So I'm going to talk about the neck positioning as well, because we'll come back to the exercise. Because what happens as we age and develop this forward fatigue posture is we lose the ability to have an understanding of where our body is in space, okay? So this is one of the great things Pilates teaches us, so many things Pilates teaches us, is the awareness of where our body is in space. So many times we have these postures, whatever they are, and we actually don't even realize it. We live in these bodies and they're our normal, say. So yeah, my outcome for you would be that you would just have an awareness of where is the correct positioning of the skull in terms of the posture. In fact, I'll jump into that and then we'll jump into the movement. So I'm going to take myself sideways here for a moment. And so you've got your skull that sits on top of the atlas, and we want it just to move freely forward and backwards. So if you sort of put your hand on your chin and you just lower your chin slightly and lengthen the back of the neck. So think about the skull. You could say you're just sort of looking downwards. You're just looking downwards and you're lengthening your neck. And then back to, say, start position. I've got my hand like this on the back of my head to help me lift through the crown of the head and slightly draw the chin to chest. So there's a slight neck stretch, but it's not a jamming. It's just lowering. So what we're doing is just sliding the skull on the atlas. Okay, sliding down. And then just come back to your natural position, whatever that is for now. So I want you to put your chin on the chair, fingers on your chin, and just slightly jut your chin forward and then slightly push the chin back. But try and keep a parallel position here like this. So you're just reaching forward and reaching back. Now, this is one of the exercises I teach my clients to help build neck strength, or to get in the habit of building this awareness of where the skull should be. Is imagine, so in your car driving, now here's an exercise for you. So you've got your headrest here, okay? There's a headrest. You're driving along. Most of us drive like this. I want you to put your hand on your chin and press the back of your head. So you're looking, driving. Your eye position doesn't change. So you're not doing a chin down thing. We're just finding what we're looking for here is the neutral skull position, okay? So those of you that have military straight necks like me, you know, we're often tight here. So we often look up. So we've got to bring ourselves back into this neutral position. And as you're driving along, you're going to press. Imagine you've got a drill coming through your nose, and you're going to press the back of your nose, skull, into the headrest. So imagine drawing back and softening and drawing back and softening. So I know you haven't got a headset there to experience what that feels like, but for today, I'd like you just to practice that when you go out into the car driving. Try and get in the habit of doing it every time you get into the car, and just building awareness of where is that position there. There's, I'll also, when we go onto the mat, we'll talk a little bit more about positioning, okay? Before I move on, is there any questions?
No.
Nope. We've also got a little questioning thing there if you ever need to. So yeah, it's just this initial stages of building awareness. All right, so sitting or standing, I'm going to start for a couple of shoulder rolls. Just start for a couple of shoulder rolls. Breathe in and breathe out. Rolling, breathing in and breathing out. And neck, shoulder muscles, you know that saying, the chicken or the egg, which one comes first? We sometimes don't know that. Could be both. It could be the shoulders causing neck issues. It could be the neck causing shoulder issues. But just know there's a huge relationship, this whole region here, just under the boobies, right up to the back of the skull. So we want to work the whole area, not just the neck. And reverse your circles. And reverse. And really draw up. And when you drag back, bring the shoulders together so we get this nice front stretch. So you can do these anytime at home. And then just relax them down. Let's take a moment to go, where's my neck position? Just draw it back slightly. Remember, not bunching. Let's do some arm lengthenings. Lengthen, soften, lengthen, soften, lengthen, soften, lengthen, soften, and do one more of those. Lengthen, soften. Let's take some little circles. Little circles. Now we want these circles to be coming from the upper arm. Lengthen. And then let's reverse. And circle, 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 circle. 3, 2, 1, and lower the arms. Okay. So we've drawn our chin back into its neutral position. And let's just very gently turn the head to your left or right, just to that resistance point, no further. Back to center. So you've got this line happening, and my right's very tight. So not forcing, just observing. So I want you just to observe where your level of resistance is. Back to center. Last one. Let's just do a small chin to chest. And then back through center. And then chin to ceiling. Chin to chest. To ceiling. Notice if you've got a pulling happening here. Continue a couple more then. Obviously, if there's any pain, stop at any time. So any of our Pilates, refer back to your Pilates consideration, your exercise consideration. So never forcing, never hurting, any pain, just stop. And one more there. So coming back to the center. So let's go now and add on to our left and rights here. Sorry, I think I'm just pausing for a moment, and something weird's gone with that. Are you back in, Pauline?
Yeah, I'm back. I had to bump out altogether and sign back in.
I'm glad I saw it, because I do get in Pilates land. So yeah, sorry about that. So we're just doing. Were you with me on the head neck mobilization?
No, not quite. I was doing the shoulder rolls, and then
yeah. So jump on board here. We're just going. Where's your neutral neck position? We started with some left and rights, gently, not forcing, just observing. And then we went to chin nods, chin to chest, and up. But in these first stages of neck mobilization, it's just gentle movement. You know, it's always gentle movement, but you know, not trying to force the stretch. It's such a precious region, the neck region. We've got to be kind to it for sure. It takes so much strain. Okay, and then back to your neutral neck position. Okay, I'm going to keep going. I keep losing Pauline, but that's okay. I'm going to keep going here now and keep an eye out for when she drops out. So, video. So we're going to go back to our left and right movement. And this time, before we do that, I'm going to do an eye movement. Okay. So you're going to find your neutral neck position, and you're just taking your eyeballs to the right. I know it's a bit weird. And then eyeballs left. And if you're tired, this is hard to do. Eyes right. Eyes left. Continue there. Eyeballs only. So yeah, eyeballs are surrounded by muscles. I keep wanting to turn my head left. I haven't done this for ages. Right. Left, right. Now you're going to add, so eyeball, tongue in cheek. So eyes right, tongue in cheek. Eyes left, tongue in cheek. Eyes, tongue. Eyes, tongue. You keep going there. I just keep looking at my screen. That's all, every now and then. So you stay focused on the eyes, tongue. Okay, so now we're going to go eyes, tongue, move. So eyes right, tongue, and then turn your head. Keep looking right. Keep stretching your eyes, stretching your tongue. And see if you can increase that range a little bit as you come back to center every time. So you're going far left and you keep looking. So eyes, tongue, left. See if you can turn a little bit more by using the tongue and the eyes to increase your mobility there. Back to center. Eyes, tongue, right. Back to center. Left. One more each side, one more right, one more left. I don't know about you, but my range has increased. It's a bit like The Exorcist if you're from the 80s. Amazing range doing that. Then back to center. So a couple of little things for you to practice. So let's now go to the mat. So laying down on your back. Get my block with me. I'm going to work through some spine mobilization for engagement. So first thing always when you make your way to the mat, I'm just going to talk while I move my screen. First thing always is to make sure that you check your alignment on the mat, make sure you're nice and straight on the mat. I've got a new setup today, so I'm always looking for a new setup. So you're nice and square, knees bent, feet on the floor, hips square, shoulders square. Nice connection to the feet to the floor. Now, let's talk about the neck before we create movement here. So I've got a little block, but look, this is really neck dependent. Some people, I can lay without a block, but my preference is with one. It just feels comfortable. So, and it depends on a lot of things with the neck. But I want you to think about what we just did a moment ago where we drew the chin down and then place the skull in what you consider to be your neutral position. So your neutral, generally speaking, is if the face is parallel to the ceiling. Okay? Now, let's go back to that. It's called nose press, where we did the nose press as you're driving along in your car. Same thing here. Okay, so we've got our block, we've got our neutral skull position. You're going to imagine there's a drill coming through your nose, breath in, and on the breath out, press the back of your head into the block. Breathe in, soften. Breathe out, press. Breathe in, soften. So it's very subtle. As you press the back of the head into the block, you're not jamming the chin, you're not looking up. The skull doesn't move at all. Breathe out as you just draw the back of the head into the block. So what you're doing here is you're realigning the spine, but you're also building the strength of the neck muscles. And if the neck is in the correct alignment, the strengthening will actually travel down your thoracic spine to your mid-back. So it's not just isolating the neck region, but it's all about the positioning of the skull. Let's do one more press there. And then just do a gentle turn left and right. And I'm hoping by now that you've just got a little bit more movement than when we started, because we've done that little bit of mobilizing. So as you do your Pilates, in particular, if you have any neck issues, like myself, just, find that habit. I want for you to just build awareness of when you're gripping from the neck, because most people with neck issues, if they work too strong in other areas, it all plays out in their neck. So just building that awareness of when you're holding tension in your neck and just going back to a soft rotation and a softening. So that's our nose drill. Now I want to just extend on the nose drill, press. We're going to do a lateral addition to that. So all you do is find your neutral neck position and slightly turn your head 45 degrees to the right or left, whichever side is better for you. And you maintain that position, and we're going to do 4 presses in your lateral position. Breathe out, press. Breathe out, press. I know it looks like I'm not doing anything, but I am. I'm working my neck muscles. Breathe out, press. And it might be that you have to make a micro adjustment of that skull position to find that perfect place. And then the same on the other side. Back to center. Center is always finding your neutral, other direction. 45 degrees. And press. And press. And press. Okay, back to center. Let's take some pelvic tilts now and make sure our neck's nice and comfortable. Breath in, and on the breath out, flatten your back into the mat and zip your abdominals. It's called imprinting your spine into the mat. Breathe in, back to neutral. Little arch in your back. Breathe out as you press. Breathe in that. Now these are tilts, imprints. We do these, you keep going there on your mat. We do these in a variety of positions. There's a kneeling version where you can't see my head, but that's the action. But it's got to come from the core. Breathe out, press. Breathe in. You can see I've got quite a big arch in my back, so it's really hard for me, for my posture type, to achieve this imprint. I've got to work really hard at it. Breathe out, press. So great spine mobilization, sore backs, warming the spine up. And it's a key movement that we do in Pilates for imprint. And one more there. And then come back to neutral position, little arch. Bring your ankles and knees together, and with controls, have a small side to side. Breathe in, draw the knees to one side. Breathe out, back to start. Breathe in, draw the knees over to the other side. Breathe out, back to start. Breathe in and breathe out, back to start. So if your back was really sore, you just make the movements really small, really controlled, and the main focus is core activation. Breathe in, rotate. Breathe out, back to start. Now, you're either going to stay with that depending on your back pain, or we can challenge that by bringing one knee at a time to tabletop position, squeeze the knees, and same thing, keep it small, breathe into one side, breathe out, back to start, breathe in. So this is just, you know, if you're a little bit more advanced and you want that little bit more core challenge here. So we can teach everything in levels and we can modify everything. Breathe in, rotate. One more each side. And then even if your feet are on the floor or knees to tabletop, you can bring your hands to knees. Just have a little rock and roll there on your back there. So just mobilizing the back. Giving you a nice rub. Okay, let's take one foot at a time to the floor. So your job's to keep your neutral pelvis. So we're going to do these tiny little foot slides. And you're going to right leg, breathe in, slide that right leg away. Keep the heel just on the floor, but light. Breathe out, slide back. Excuse me, bring your hands on your hips. Keep your pelvis still. Breathe in, slide the foot away. Breathe out. So this is just purely about stabilizing the pelvis and core activation. Breathe in, breathe out. Now, if you want a little bit more challenge on that, you can just hover the leg across and keep it up the whole time. Breathe in, slide, drag back, create this resistance through the leg. Breathe in, reach long, we're stretching out of the hip. Breathe out, drag back. Let's do one more there. Breathe in, reach, and breathe out. And let's put that foot back on the floor. Let's go left leg now. Sliding, breathe in, slide. Breathe out, drag back. Breathe in, slide. Breathe out, drag back. Or you're going to take that leg up and hover. Breathe in, hover. Breathe out, back to start. Breathe in, hover. Breathe out, back to start. We're all good. We're all here still. Okay, breathe in. Breathe out. And one more there. Breathe in. And breathe out. And place the foot down. Little sway through the knees. Okay, I'm going to go back to neck, a little bit of neck education here today. I want you to intertwine your fingers and hammock your hands under your head there. Now, there's a little divot. So if you take your pointer finger and place it under your skull, and it's right at the base of the skull here. Take just one hand for the moment, right below the skull. And notice when you draw your chin down, there's that little divot fills out. You can feel it. There's a muscle in there. And then it concaves. As you bring your chin up, it concaves. So there's a neutral position with that divot where you go chin down, it's filled out, and there's just a place where it's fully in concave and your finger actually sits in it. So that's the little tip for your neutral neck position when you're doing Pilates. Okay, you can also do that check even, at any time. So it's important, we're going to do a little chest lift. So it's important that when we do our chest lift, so your hands are behind your head, elbows are up, peripheral vision, it's important that you don't jam your chin to chest, right? We just want to keep our neutral neck position. So there's a slight lowering of the chin, just a little bit. Draw your tummy in, and on the breath out, you're going to lift your head, but you're trying to maintain your neck position. Breathe in, lower. Breathe out, big tummy zip and lift. And breathe in lower. And it takes a bit of practice. So basically you're trying to maintain your neck positioning through all our chest lifting. We've got the divot. I'm always looking for my divot. And you're lifting eyes to knees. So I'm throwing a bit of technique at you today, and we'll build on that. Breathe out, lift. Breathe in, lower. There's so much to think about in Pilates, right? So just try and take a little bit on board each time. Breathe out, lift. You know, so what usually happens is people try and lift too far and they end up like jamming the chin to the chest, and it's not that at all. Let's just do one more there. Breathe out, lift. Breathe into lower. And come back down, head left, head right. No tension in that neck. Okay, let's go into our pelvic curls. We'll put your block away if you've got a block. A-frame arm position. There's an A-frame arm position, different view. Okay, into our tilts, ready to go. Breath in on the breath out. Tilt the pelvis, peel your spine up. There's a shoulder press. There's a lengthening through the thighs. Breath in. And on the breath out, peel your spine down, one vertebrae at a time. And breathe in back to neutral. And breathe out, go again. Breathe out, peel. Now, let's talk about necks here. So if you've got a really, really, really forward posture, this position will tend to pull your head back a bit. Breathe in back to neutral. So it's taught without a pillow for a reason, because there's a loading. You can keep going as I'm talking. There's a loading of weight all the way up into potentially the neck. It shouldn't be the neck because you should be heavy on your shoulders. But if we had a pillow, if you can see the screen, you can see it causes this, so that's not good. Now, there is some variations on that. Come down and we'll go up again. We'll do two more. So if you're just doing a pelvic curl, come up and do two more. So it is acceptable that you have a really little pillow if you've got a really little pillow. Like my block is too big for this movement. But once again, let's just talk comfort. Hold it up. We've got to check what's going on in the neck here. No tension. And let's peel down one vertebrae at a time. Coming down. If you like your head block back, take your head block back. Let's have a hamstring stretch. Take that right heel to ceiling. And release your other leg along across the mat. Hands just behind the leg. I'd love some carpet to do some Pilates on my home, but it's all tiles here. It's as hard as anything. Good hamstring stretch. And release and let go. Other side. Yeah, so we want to spend a good amount of time when we've got some neck issues. We want to spend a good amount of time in the shoulder region, in the stretch and mobilization of the shoulder region and the thoracic region. So we'll do a couple more in that area next. Let's release that. Okay, we'll just do some arm scissors and circles. So take your arms straight above your chest. Reach the fingertips to the ceiling and just little shrug back. So they're just literally called shrugs. Reach and shrug. Now, a lot of people shrug too high, right? They work in this upper region. We want to make sure that as we're doing our shrugs, they're in the lowest region as possible. Now, shrug them down, hold them there. Let's do scissor arms. Breathe in, take one arm back, one arm down to the hip. And breathe out back to start. Now, we do that without bunching the shoulders. I'll show you what that looks like while you're on the mat there. So this is this scissor. It's not this. Okay, so that's why we do the shrugs in this preparation for that, because we want to have an understanding of this connectivity of the shoulder blades to the mat. It's for a reason, okay? So it's breathe in, open your scissor without that shrugging up. Your shoulders are not your earrings. Breathe out back to start. Breathe in, open. Breathe out back to start. Takes a bit of work. Takes a bit of, and if you've got lack shoulder strength, it's not easy to do that. Last scissors. Back to start. Now, if you want a little bit more core challenge while we're doing this, bring the knees to tabletop and you go into circles. Breathe in, take the arms back. Breathe out, circle. Breathe in, take the arms back. Breathe out, circle. Do 2 more. Breathe in, breathe out, circle. Breathe in, breathe out, circle, coming back to start position. Ready to reverse. Breath in, breathe out, lower. Breathe in, semicircle around. Breathe out, lower. Breathe in, semicircle around. Breathe out, lower. Breathe in, semicircle around. Breathe out, lower. And last one there. Breathe in, breathe out. Let's put our hands on our knees. Another rock side to side for the spine. Let's go and roll onto your right side. So right side, shoulders stacked, hips stacked. Now always supporting the neck. This is my hand under the head hammock is my favorite neck support position. But by all means, use a pillow or a block, or the arm can be straight. So let's take the arm straight out in front of the chest and breathe in. As you take the arm to ceiling, notice that that shoulder is not up around your ears. So this is what we see a lot as well. All right, so you're going to stay working through this line. So it's breathe in, arm to ceiling. And on the breath out, the whole mid-back rotates. Think about your bra strap region rotating back. Support your neck. Breath in, hold. On the out breath, bring the whole lot back. Lower the arm. Breathe in, arm to ceiling. Breathe out, rotate. Each time we're trying to melt a little bit further down onto the mat. Breath in, hold. Breathe out, bring it home, lower the arm. Let's do 2 more of those. So I'll keep talking while you're moving. So yeah, we're always having awareness of where is that shoulder in regards to the neck. The more those shoulders bunch up around your neck, the more problems it's going to create in the cervical region. And your last one coming up. Breathe in, arm to ceiling. Breathe out, rotate. Breath in on the breath out and bring it home, lower the arm. And then we spin around the other side. Hips stacked, shoulders stacked. So that just basically stacked means that the hips are on top of each other. You know, we're not twisting through the hips. We're really tight in the back. It might cause a little pull, but that's okay. That's our initial setup. Remember, you're supporting the neck here. Breathe in, arm to ceiling. Breathe out, rotate through the middle of the back. Hold for in-breath. Breathe out, bring it home and lower the arm. Breathe in, arm to ceiling. Breathe out, rotate. Hold for in-breath. Breathe out, bring it home, lower the arm. Let's do 2 more. So then let's now transition to all fours position here. So we want your wrists directly under your shoulders. If you've got good wrists, you spread your fingers and distribute the weight nice and evenly, or make a modification. Now we've got to watch we don't collapse the back of the neck here. So do a shoulder roll and imagine you're pushing your breastbone away from the floor, and that feeling of strength runs all the way through the back of the neck. Breath in, on the breath out, tuck your pelvis, let your head hang so there's a neck stretch here. Let your head top of your head just hang down. Breathing back to neutral spine. You're long from crown of your head to tailbone. And on the out breath, tuck your pelvis. Breathing back to neutral. So we actually use the weight of the head to stretch the neck here. Breathe out, just flop it down. And we'll do 2 more like that. Breathe out, arch the spine. All right, we're going to take this into a stretch now. Arch the spine, keep the big arch. You're going to reach your bottom back onto your heels. Now, if you need to adjust your knees, if you've got sore knees, take your knees wider. All right, just let the head hang. Now, if for some reason there's neck tension here, I want you to put your hands down and support your forehead there. Or your pillow. Let's set up the roll up. So we want the feet to be in a neutral position. You're going to tuck your toes under. You're going to fold forward at the hips and just hang here. Another neck stretch here. So let the blood pressure settle. If you need support for your back, bring your hands on your knees. But if you can, really just let the arms flop, let the head flop. Shake out any tension in the neck and shoulders here. Yes, no. Flop it around. Now keep it hanging as we roll up. You need soft knees here. Breath in. And on the out breath, find your pelvic floor abdominals to peel your spine up, 1 vertebrae at a time into a deep C curve. I know you've lost me. Your chin comes up last, coming up to standing position. So there you go, guys, ending with that nice roll up. So let's just recap before I say goodbye. Hope that was great for you. Just building awareness of that neck positioning. That's what we talked about today. Remember, it's never a jamming. It just should feel soft and right there. It takes time. If you've really developed a forward posture, there's a lot of musculature that needs to be retrained and reprogrammed and stretched. So, it will take some work. I didn't get to touch on today the back strengthening component of all that. That was more stretch and mobilize. A little bit of strength. The pressing into the headrest and the head block is strengthening, but there's so much more that we can do on a strengthening level. But just be patient with it. Neck and shoulder tension, stress and pain can be quite debilitating. So it's a slow process. You have to ask yourself, how many years have you spent building this dysfunction? It's going to take some commitment and some work to undo it. Some things are structural that we just can't fix. I've got degeneration and spurs in my neck. So, I do have to live with that. I'm definitely, in the aging bracket, but I can certainly mobilize my neck and strengthen my neck, several times a week. In fact, before I go, I just want to show you one of my key things that I do for my neck every morning when I'm being good Sandra. I'll be right back. Only take 2 seconds. Right, here it is here. So this is an Australian product, and I'm not selling them. I was selling them at the studio. It's called a Dr. Graham's. Anyway, I can put it in a post. It's a Dr. Graham's general purpose massager. It's a clinical strength, pretty mean looking thing, right? But it is hell good. It's clinical strength. So you can get them at, all your electrical stores, sure, but it's not clinical strength. This guy's a chiropractor. He spent years and years and years designing it. It's so good. Yeah, so I mobilize my neck and shoulders every morning, whole body. It's got this great big long arm, so you can do all those upper ones. Honestly, it's under $100. It's the best $100 you'll ever spend. We love our Dr. Graham. So that's it for me, guys. Hope you've had a great session on neck, a little bit of core work, and I'll see you at the next Zoom. Have a great day. Bye. I don't want to end the meeting. I just want to stop the recording. Stop it.